Warning, the following episode of the Blackwell podcast contains spoilers from all episodes of Life is Strange.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Blackwell podcast, where we love Life is Strange more than we try and beat our own score in Mustard Party 2. I'm Jamie, joined always by Joey.
Heyo.
Aaron.
Hi.
Sean.
Hey.
And Zach.
Howdy, partners.
How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Pretty good.
We did it.
I'm
We
okay.
did it. We made it through the intro.
This is like our fourth attempt at the intro.
Yeah, because basically a bunch of stuff happened, so yeah, so far so good. Alright, so today's episode is going to be about a little game that was announced during E3, and that came out last Monday, which was The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit.
Oh yeah.
Came out of fucking nowhere, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah.
And,
It's 100% free.
yeah. So yeah, this episode's going to be about a general discussion, and we'll talk about little things that we notice in game. So this is going to be like full spoilers. You've been
You
warned
should
in the
definitely
intro.
play it
You've been warned
before
now.
you
Yeah.
listen to this.
It's completely free.
It's totally free, and
no
it's totally
excuse.
worth your time. We forbid you from listening unless you've played it.
This is kind of like a final warning.
Yes.
So yeah, Chris dies.
This is your final warning.
Stop it.
You know,
He falls out of his treehouse and he dies. It's a great game.
What
GG.
if that actually is though?
Well, that's what me and my friend were saying. We're like,
that
is
was
he dead
kind of
now?
my first
Yeah.
thought.
I absolutely thought he was going to die, and I was going to be like, oh god, this is really fucking dark.
Yeah.
And then I thought, like, Season 2 was going to be dealing with, like, partially dealing with, like,
Oh, like
the
Charlie's
effects
the
of, like, this
protagonist
kid's
or
death.
something?
Guys, come
Yeah.
on. Nobody ever dies in Life is Strange.
Yeah, that's...
Oh no, never.
I'm just gonna give a quick confession. Every time that I was like replaying it, whenever like I wasn't streaming it, I always was saying, Charlie from like Danny DeVito from Always Sunny. Charlie,
Charlie, listen.
you gotta stop drinking, Charlie. So yeah, let's talk about what we all thought about the
I
game.
offer you a nice egg and these trying times.
Yeah. Nightcrawler's Charlie.
Oh no. The Nightcrawlers sound like a villain that Captain Spirit would fight.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
general thoughts on it?
Yeah.
Like, opinion coming off? I thought it was pretty awesome. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought Chris was really likable, of course. It absolutely did capture the whole vibe that they were obviously trying to put out, which was like recapturing the like childlike experience of make believe and stuff like that. Kind of even hitting really close to home with the whole like coping using escapism.
Yeah.
That was like that was really well done and really relatable. I was gonna say I'm really excited about. I have some theories and I'm really excited about some of the things that happen and what they could spell for season 2, but we'll get back to that later.
Yeah. Same.
So what did you guys think?
I loved it. I'm fucking Life is Strange trash. So
Me.
Of course, we all loved it.
As soon as I saw the trailer during E3, I was like fucking pumped. Like as soon as like I said like Square Enix and then Dontnod.
Yeah, I was what? It came out. Was it during the Xbox?
Yeah,
one?
the Microsoft one.
Yeah, I was really
Yeah.
bummed because I expected it to. If there was anything Life is Strange coming out, I was expecting it all to hit during a Squeenix conference, and I had to work during that. So I was like really bummed, and I was like, oh, I guess I'll just have to like catch the news on Twitter while I'm at work or something. And so
Right.
I was just watching the Xbox trailer like passively, or the Xbox conference, and when that came on, I was like, oh my god, this is blowing me away. And I think I jumped up out of my seat, and I was like, I think I must have
Yeah.
yelled something, and I remember looking at Amy, and I was like so excited, and she was like kind of confused. She hadn't caught on that it was Life is Strange yet. I was like, "This is Life is Strange. This is obviously Life is Strange." You could like tell from
Yeah.
the art and the
Yeah.
trailer.
Yeah, it's super cool. I'll have to ask forgiveness from our Dontnod overlords, but I was skeptical after I saw it. Just because, like, I knew that it was going to be completely different, and I was a little cautious just with my expectations. But for those who don't know, I just played the game today, shortly before we started, and it was awesome. The feel was exactly right. I even texted my buddy, and I was just like, it gets me every time how immersive these games are. I sat for about an hour and a half without, just like playing straight through, and then I had to get up because I realized I was insanely hungry. But I was just like lost in that world, and they did such an amazing job with introducing these characters and the backstory and all that, and it was heartwarming, and yeah, I mean, Chris is great, and there were some hard parts for sure, but overall I loved it.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was adventurous. If I had to give it a military rank, I would say it's captain, and it had a lot of skill.
I thought the Blackwell podcast was gonna have a new official rating system where we rate things by military rank.
Maybe.
I'm done here.
I loved it. It made me cry. It made me laugh. It definitely hit home in a lot of ways. I don't understand why Dontnod hates parents so much, but it makes for compelling stories. I had a lot of Hot Dog Man content, which is always welcome, and it was like just extremely heartfelt, extremely relatable, and they did a good job of just like immediately making Chris like just this precious little son that we must protect.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was I mean, like I knew Alex had said in the past that Life is Strange 2 was going to be a lot different than season 1. I didn't know what that meant, but I think we can see now that it's going to be possibly dealing with more like younger kids and like kind of coping at that age, and also dealing with like abusive parent, and so we'll probably won't be seeing like any sort of like romance type thing. If it is from Chris's perspective, I can't imagine that being in there. But I'm really excited for season 2, and
Definitely.
I really liked it. It was really different at first, obviously, and like I feel like anybody else, I at least was a bit skeptical going in, just because I have so much love for all the characters we've already had. But like obviously I was open-minded and stuff. But I really liked it, and I thought they did a really good job of telling the story that they were trying to tell. Like I don't know how else to describe it. Like it just felt like it meant something. Like you said, it was really heartfelt, and I really liked the story. And Chris instantly became my son, and I really liked Chris's character. I thought he was really cute. I was a bit worried that because I don't normally like playing as little younger characters. But I really liked playing as Chris. I thought his comments and stuff were really cute. And I think the way they I was speaking to my friend about this, the way they kind of addressed dealing with like an abusive or like alcoholic parent as like a young child felt really real and like true to how it is to be in that situation. Like as someone who has been in that situation, like a lot of the kind of justifying that Chris did of his dad's actions, of like being like, oh, and like showing that he's not always like a bad guy, like he's not always a shitty person, like he has his good moments as well, which makes it really conflicting for you as like a small child to be like, oh, that what they're doing isn't okay, because you know that there's that good side to them as well. I just thought that came from like a really real place, and like I know I could relate to that.
So let's talk about the actual game instead of just talking about a general overview. So you start off seeing some beautiful footage of outside Chris's house in Beaver Creek, Oregon, or just on the outskirts anyway, where Chris is he's just being him. He's just being a nice old kid.
It's like
playing with some
day
good
in the
old
life.
Playmobiles.
What is it, like Saturday?
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
It is Saturday morning.
Playing, yeah. So, and you see him playing with some Playmobiles on a spaceship, and you get to design his costume.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a
Yeah.
really cool touch. Where did everybody...
How do you get the
what
cool
did-
helmet? I didn't get the cool helmet. Is that when you pick like helmet or mask?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I picked mask because that's what
I
he had in
did
the
too.
trailer, and I felt that was appropriate. But then I saw how cool the helmet was, and I regretted my choice because the helmet's awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely colorful suit and heavy armor
Yeah.
because Kevin
Nice.
Spirit don't fool around.
I did the exact opposite of that. I did helmet,
So you did
dark,
light armor and dark colors.
yeah, exactly. And it looked rad.
I went light and light colours, I guess. And I got the mask as well.
Oh yeah.
I like the mask.
I went. I can't remember. I think first playthrough I did helmet, heavy armor, and colorful colors.
I chose to make my Captain Spirit very roguish, so I went light armor, dark colors, and mask.
That's
Yeah,
definitely
boy.
on brand for Joey.
So a little bit of a fun fact regarding all of our outfit choices. I want to shout out to Normand, who was an FQA tester who was kind enough to share some knowledge with me. The outfit that you chose for Captain Spirit would... Oh. You good? Okay, alright. Okay, so let me restart real quick. So I want to give a shout out to Normand, who's an FQA taster in Montreal, who shared some knowledge with me about Captain Spirit, which I'll kind of share throughout the episode. But depending on the color scheme of your costume, actually determines on the color of your logo on the main menu screen.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's cool.
So if
nice.
you chose red and black, it would be, a red Captain Spirit, whilst if you chose colourful, it would be blue. And
that's
grey
cool.
is apparently if you don't have a save altogether.
That's really cool.
That's neat.
I like that.
It's a really nice touch.
And the cool thing is with Captain Spirit, it's like you can pretty much do more or less anything you want, really.
Yeah, it's so I think the one trigger that you have to do in order to
Finish it.
finish it is to put the cape on.
Oh, I thought you meant like talk to Charlie about have breakfast first.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, like once you get into the sort of free realm of it, where like the different tasks.
Oh yeah.
I think Charlie falls asleep when you put the cape on.
Oh.
If I'm correct,
He falls asleep after 23 minutes.
Oh, is it time based?
After the breakfast, yeah.
Huh.
And
Okay.
all events actually pause that timer.
Okay.
Thank you, Norman.
Interesting.
I thought it was because like the cape was supposed to be like Captain Spirit's ability to fly, because what Chris says about like you have to have a cape to fly, and given the ending, I thought that was like what the trigger was for that.
You do actually need the cape for a few of the tasks, which I'll kind of talk about later. But let's kind of touch about the conversation between Charlie and Chris first, since, you know, after that we can kind of talk about everything, like all the like tidbits and stuff.
All right.
So,
Cool.
like, our first impressions of Chris and Charlie are like good parents, well, good dad, you know, until like, for me it was like when he said, you know, the bruise on the arm and the alcohol, I was like, oh no, you know.
Right.
It's like, I don't like you anymore, dude. I knew you for like 2 minutes, but I was like, oh.
It's funny that you say that, though, because I didn't really, I don't know if I ever liked Charlie. But I think it was influenced because my coworker played it before me, and she told me something. She was like, it doesn't spoil the game completely, but the father is an alcoholic. So I kind of knew that going into the game, so I had preconceived notions. But even when he's calling you for breakfast and he starts like yelling at you if you don't come right away, I was like, okay, like you can chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that same reaction because I didn't go the first time he calls, and so he calls the second time, and so I was like, ugh, fine. And
Right.
I went in, and he like instantly, he's like, why didn't you come when I called the first time? I was like, geez, calm down, Dad. Try to play twice.
It's just breakfast.
Well, I kind of guessed he was an alcoholic before I played it, just from like the trailer, because there's a bit where there's like, I don't know, who's like holding like a beer can or something, or like there's something to do with a beer can. I don't think he was just holding a beer can. There was just something to do with a beer can. And I was like, questionable, and it would look like he was being an asshole. So I was like, oh, is he like an alcoholic then? I can't even remember what it was. There was just something that made me think it. And so when I went in and he was like being a dick already, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, in the trailer, maybe it was the extended trailer.
Yeah, the
that
gameplay
Squeenix showed,
probably.
But in the trailer, it actually,
Yeah, maybe.
Chris asks Charlie, he's like, "You're drinking beer already?" And he's like, "I don't need this."
Real lecture for my son.
And so they kind of set it up as to what Charlie's deal was going to be. But yeah, I like, there's a point where you can just like not listen to Charlie calling you, and there's a point where it finally gets to it. Like, basically Charlie says, "If I have to call you one more time, I'm going to come in there and beat your ass."
Oh, jeez.
And something like that, and then it like stops you from interacting with anything else in the room until you leave the room.
Oh, does
And
it?
you have to like, yeah. And I pushed it up until that point, and he apologizes, of course, because that's he's like, I shouldn't have said that. But
He does that
still,
some more later in the game too. So is that like the end of it though? Like nothing ever goes. It just, the game only lets you leave the room at that point.
I'm not sure if you can still stick around, and like if he will come and like forcefully remove you from the room.
I don't think
but,
so. I'd do that.
Yeah, but that is the like cutoff point of being able to interact with anything else in the room until you go have brekkie.
Which is an interesting change of pace, because I feel like Life is Strange in general sort of expects you to explore and look around before you do anything major. So I'm like trying to do as much as I can. I don't think I got quite to that point, but the last thing he said to me was, "Don't make me come over there." Like, he didn't say he was like gonna hurt, you know, Chris or anything, but it was getting to that point. So I was like, fine, whatever. I'll just deal with this later.
Ugh, whatever, Dad.
God damn.
So yeah, kind of like after that conversation, you're given a budget about 8 tasks to do. So
You can tackle them in pretty much any order.
yeah, it's kind of encouraged to replay Captain Spirit, because there's so much to do, so much to see. So it's one we're taking the back streets.
I know it was coming.
It was accidental. I was like, I was kind of rolling with it. I was like, no, I was gonna say so much to do, so much to see, but I was like, if I'm doing it, I'm gonna have to go all in. So
point of no return.
So let me go through the 8 objectives. So you have to build your costume. You have to defeat Snowmancer. You have to do the shooting range with the beer cans. You have to defeat Mantroid. You have to do all the interactions with the villains, or like the superhero, or like your squad. Find the treasure, play the Hot Dog Man game and tame the Water Eater.
Yeah.
I really liked the water heater sequence. That was cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was like
that was super cool.
For me personally, that was the first like objective I did where like you go into full like imagination mode and like other stuff takes over. Like of course that happens again when you go to Mantroid's planet and stuff. But that was the first one I had done where that happens, and so that was a cool like introduction to it all with like Captain Spirit like walking through like this dark abyss.
I thought it looked really cool too.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
It's similar to that. Mantroid's planet was awesome. I thought it looked really cool. I liked the cool alien like desolate planet with like the craggy rocks, and it was a very different scene to see within a Life is Strange game.
Yeah, that's why I always thought like it's just like a very different environment from anything else we've seen so far, which was really interesting.
Yeah, it was very cool.
And it reminded me of when you see that lone street light and just that like pavement like in the middle of everything else. Well, actually, Joe, you said you haven't played Hell is Empty, right?
Right, no, I haven't.
Okay, well, I won't spoil it, but it reminded me of the beginning sequence of that episode where it was like just kind of
I know the
surreal.
beginning sequence, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, with the viewfinder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, it was very similar to that. And also, too, I guess, like, Season 1, we kind of had a little bit of that with the nightmare sequence.
Oh, like the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But I thought it was really, like, it was really endearing, you know, like, Chris is this young kid and he's, like, scared of the water heater, and so he calls it the Water Eater.
Yeah.
And it's this, like, big monster. I thought that was really cute.
It is very cool.
I thought also, too, when you complete the costume, the little sequence there, his, like, transformation sequence.
Where it
Kind
gears
of
up.
reminded me a bit of Sailor Moon or something.
Yeah.
The classic, like, the classic
Magical
anime
girl
transformation.
Yeah.
Top 10
Yeah, that was really cool.
transformation.
I forgot about that part. I guess that's, like, the first, like, imagination taking over part, which was pretty cool.
Okay, I have a bone to pick. Like, I know we're not, like, there yet, but you know when you do the washing?
Right.
I have a big bone to pick with it.
Is it
because
that he never puts it in the
it's
dryer?
my own fault, but I have a bone to pick with it. I literally just only put a pair of pants in there, and I didn't see the dirty washing basket on top of the washing machine or the dryer, so I just put a pair of pants in there and closed it.
just washing a single piece of cloth. Wash your one cloth.
We've all been there. Your clothes.
So, what was the piece of pants you put in there? The piece of pants. That's how you say that word. What are the pair of pants you put in? Is it like, can you dirty up like Chris's pants and then you throw them in there, or?
No, it's
I don't remember doing that.
It's Charlie's.
Oh, okay. I remember
Yeah.
putting something in the wash, but I don't remember what.
It was your dad's clothes.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Like, there's a washing basket right next to it on top of the washing machine, and I didn't.
Right.
I was like ahead of myself, so I just threw the pants in there, and then I was like, yeah, clean it, and then I was like, okay, there's dirty clothes now, and I can do nothing with them.
Just really, washing every piece of clothes.
Yeah.
I don't know why I can't say.
I'm watching me
Talk about clothes. Wash all the pieces of clothes by themselves, one by one. One sock.
One load for every article of clothing.
You could just wash yourself and your clothes.
Oh, that's good. That's a good technique, actually.
That's a
Well, it's
Saves
because
water.
And my clothes.
I don't know if any of you, anyone else did, but it's because you can pick up the trousers from upstairs in Charlie's room.
Oh,
And so I had them in my inventory, so I just threw them in, because there was an option for it, and then I was like, that's all that needs washing, right?
I think I missed that.
Yeah,
I think
I didn't know you could do
I think
that.
I just washed the dirty clothes bin.
Yeah, that was all I did, was throw the dirty clothes.
Well, at least you did the washing more correctly than I did. Just one pair of pants.
You were just acid washing the jeans, and you didn't want to ruin all the other clothes.
I could just
Yes.
I could just
Whenever I
imagine. Oh, go ahead, Jamie.
Oh no, I was gonna steal the topic away, but go ahead. Zach.
Oh, I was just gonna say I can imagine Chris throwing in the single pair of clothes and then closing the lid and gives a thumbs up. It's like a job well done.
You didn't do anything. For some reason, whenever I throw it into the washing machine, I thought, like, by the look of it inside the washing machine, that there was something in Charlie's pocket. You know, like a pamphlet or something. I was like, can I read it? I don't know. But I thought it was something like that. But,
I didn't find the pants, so I didn't know that.
yeah, it was near the height thing in
Oh, okay.
Like
I went up
Sean
there, but I
said.
think I must have went up there after I started washing the clothes, so maybe the game didn't let me pick it up, or maybe I just didn't see it.
So we just talked about...
I think it doesn't let you pick it up. Because
Yeah.
I tidied up, and then I went... so the way that I did it in my first playthrough was I tidied everything up. I took like the recycling out. I did the laundry and the dirty clothes hamper, and then I went and like started actually like ticking things off of the list. But I didn't get very far. I put on like the first little bit where you find the ace bandages. I'm sorry, we probably can't say that because we don't have sponsorship from these.
Don't,
But,
please.
Just
the
bleep it out.
athletic bandages, the compression wraps, where you like is part of the light armor anyway.
Right.
And then so I did that, and then I went back and defeated the water eater, and then I woke Charlie up, and I was like, oh, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's what I did too. I didn't even go outside before I woke Charlie up.
Oh, wow.
I like, because I was like, I'm just gonna wake this guy up, see what this interaction is, and that like, of course, kicks off the final sequence. And so I didn't do any of the outside stuff. And then, but you could just reload your save, and the game will start you right before you wake him up. So with all your progress, like if you've made your save,
that's
you already have
nice.
it all. So I went outside and did everything at that point. But actually, on top of that, I guess Joey, if you didn't, oh maybe you did. Did you say the light clothing, the light armor stuff is like inside?
It's so the cape, so you get the mask by the makeup that's in the bathroom. The cape is in Chris's closet, and then the bandages are in Charlie's bag in his closet.
Oh, okay.
And so I had at that point, and then you got to go outside to paint them.
Yeah, in the garage.
Yeah, but all I had done was just put on the bandages.
Well, there's this interesting thing, which if none of you guys did what I did, then you maybe didn't notice this, but whenever you kick off the final sequence and the neighbor, Miss Reynolds comes to the door and you have a conversation with her. If you picked heavy armor like I did, the heavy armor like pieces are a beer like box, like a beer suitcase that are outside in the bed of his truck. And you have to put it on and you spray paint it and stuff. But if you start that final sequence when you haven't put on either the the bandages or the beer suitcase armor, then Chris's bruise on his arm is actually exposed, and Miss Reynolds brings it up in the conversation. She asks you about it, and then you can like lie. You can say that like you got it from roughhousing with friends. I think you can say you got it from like falling down or something. I don't remember. And then you can just straight up blame it. You can be like, "Oh yeah, my dad did this." So I didn't pick that one, but I'm interested to see what would happen if you do that. I'll probably do another game.
That's really interesting.
I think the right option, like the correct one, was like playing with friends. So
that's what I picked. Yeah, which that actually will affect whenever you go back to Charlie, and then he like accuses you of
affect what?
What does he say? He says something. Like you wanted to tell her this, or you wanted to tell her that your dad's a deadbeat, something like that. But if you get the bruises dialogue, his dialogue changes, and he says, like, you wanted to rat me out, didn't you? Or he says, like, you wanted to tell her that I gave you those bruises. So I'm actually curious what would happen if you do pick that. If you do say, yeah, my dad gave me these bruises, and then what would he say after that? So
speaking of,
somebody go test that out.
There are apparently 3 different dialogues that can happen whenever Claire knocks on the door, which I'll kind of touch to towards the end because they're really interesting. 2 are the same and one of them's completely fucking different.
I know.
Like, a certain part is just the same as everything else.
Yeah. So with the choices, like, yeah, I'd be really interested to hear the different options because I didn't even think about that, how the branching paths would work, you know, depending upon what you got or what you completed. Because I had a sense, like, I kind of figured once you woke Charlie up that was kind of going to be a pivotal moment. Maybe not end the game or the demo, but I put it off for a long time because, you know, I wanted to have all those tasks done. And the only reason I didn't, honestly, was time, because like I said, I finished the game like 20 minutes before we did this episode, and I would have like trudged through for like another hour trying to get. I think there were like 2 or 3 that I didn't do, and we can talk about them. But yeah, I did like, you know, everything for the outfit and most of the pertinent stuff. I feel like I went to the planet and everything, but there were like 2 that I just missed. But I guess I can go back.
I imagine Jean-Luc and Michelle and Christian sitting down and being like, okay, how can we take the game Don't Wake Daddy and make our player base really sad about it?
Don't Wake Daddy gritty reboot.
And that's what Captain Spirit is.
Gritty Reboot, sponsored by Hasbro.
That was Parker Brothers, I think.
So
Sorry.
So we talked about the water heater. We talked about the different costume options.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 6 more that we have to talk to. Should we leave the best to last with Hot Dog Man?
We definitely can.
Yeah. So should we talk about Snowmancer, beer cans, Mantroid, or the villains, or the treasure?
Let's talk about Snowmancer, because I didn't do that one.
Oh, okay. Snowmancer's
Wait, what?
fun. The Snowmancer outside.
Oh yeah. My boy.
He's a snowman. He's all busted up from a previous scrape with Captain Spirit, obviously.
We stand.
Yeah, you gotta rebuild him, and then you have to get the fireworks to blow him up. You can try to like attack him without the fireworks, but one of his eyes just falls out. Yeah, I liked that sequence actually. I liked him like squaring off against this dumb snowman he had built
me
as
too.
a villain.
It was so
It's
cute.
actually, I just want to give a shout out to Michael Keaton for reprising his role as Jack Frost.
Amazing that they got him for the Don't Wake Daddy Gritty reboot.
Yeah. And Charlie Kelly. Shit, Charlie Day.
They're basically the same.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a fun sequence. I really love the creativity behind the snowman as well. You don't really get to see that much snowmen designed, like, you know, with bottle caps. I think it was a plunger or something.
Was it a beer can he used the mouth? Because that was really sad.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite detail in Snowmancer, which, if you didn't notice this, load up your game and check it out. He has little feet. He has little thin stick feet, which implies that he's not like standing. It's not like normally your basic snowman. The bottom ball is like his. It's implied to be like his mode of transportation. It's like his feet. It's like his torso, but it's also his feet. But Snowmancer's got like these little stick feet that stick out the bottom of his bottom like section, and he looks really silly when you notice.
So he's like a penguin.
Yeah, he's like this big dumb,
wonderful.
like he's sitting on his butt and he's got these little thin feet that could not possibly support him. And it makes him a lot less menacing and a lot more adorable when you notice that.
He's,
because he was very menacing in the first place.
Half snowman, half pingu.
It's really funny. Go look at Snowmancer's feet. That's my recommendation for your next playthrough.
Isn't one of his arms a windscreen wiper from a car?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is, in fact. That's his mechanical enhancement arm.
Yeah, I did notice.
He used to have a traditional stick arm, but it was destroyed, and Mantroid upgraded him by giving him a better robot arm.
Yes.
Understandable.
Now he can flex.
It did
Also,
put fear into me, so...
also, this is kind of jumping around a little bit, but it reminded me because of the windshield wipers. One of my favorite moments in this installment was when you get in the truck and he's like treating it like a spaceship, and he's like listing off all the things, like as he's turning them on. He's like, control panel, check. Escape hatch, check. And then he says, windshield wipers, check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Safety first. Truck atmosphere.
Before going back to Snowmancer and like the events preceding, one cool thing about the snow itself was that it like you could in the front yard it like tracked your movement.
Oh
So, like,
yeah,
you'd
I
have,
noticed
tracks in
Yeah.
the snow.
I went
What?
I went on the subreddit, and the first thing I saw was someone spell out penis.
So what, did it not like... It happened in the backyard too, but it didn't seem like it tracked your movement for too long before it started to like decay.
I mean, it might be on PC. It might have something to do with like settings as well. Too,
Oh,
I'm not
maybe.
sure.
Because
I know I saw a screenshot. Like someone did a little heart. I think Michelle retweeted it.
I tried doing a very long word and then a number for a joke, but it cut off like the first 4 letters after I finished it, because I tried to write Despacito too.
It was a valiant effort. We all applaud you, and you're doing God's work.
It was either that or Skate 4, but I thought Despacito 2 was more relevant.
It's better SEO.
Also, speaking of the snow, Normand showed me something really fucking cool. You know that whenever you go in the garage, you hear a noise?
Right.
Oh yeah,
I found out what that was.
Yeah, did anybody else track that
No,
source?
I didn't.
Wait, what?
So whenever you go into the garage, you hear an animal like cheering, and then I think
right.
Chris even comments on it. He says something about we had a visitor. So if you go out, if you go back outside around the shed, there's a hole kind of up in the wall. You see it in the shed before you turn the lights on. But there's a little set of footprints in the snow, and if you follow them, they lead you all the way out to a little point in the backyard near the pond. And there's a little raccoon in the woods, and he's like hanging out by a log, and he's like watching you, and he's a little inspection point. You can inspect on him, and Chris will comment on him.
Oh, cute.
That's
I think he
awesome.
says something. He's like, "Oh,
Awesome.
raccoon, cool."
Yeah.
And the raccoon just hangs out there. He never leaves, as far as I remember.
I'm glad raccoons exist in a Life is Strange universe.
Confirmed. Raccoons exist.
I didn't track the source, but that's really adorable.
Yeah, I absolutely had to track it, and me and Amy were both very pleased that there actually was a furry little critter on the other side.
Little trash panda.
Yeah, adorable.
But so in order to successfully complete the fight with a Snowmancer, you have to go up the treehouse, and or no, I'm sorry, you have to go into the garage and get the firecracker.
Right. Yeah, you got to crack the safe in there.
Right. Which that one was
Wasn't
easy.
that hard?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
easier of the 2 codes you have to figure it out in the game.
So
We'll talk about the other
how
one
did
later.
you guys? Yeah, how did you guys crack? Well, just the safe code. Like, does it say it somewhere?
No, you
Yeah.
just gotta guess. There's, as far as I saw, there was never like a thing written down that says like my safe combination is whatever.
Oh no.
You have
go-
to you have to look at other dates and parse it out. Which
Or
it's their engagement, or is it their wedding? think
It
it's
was
engagement.
it was the it was Charlie's trophy win on the basketball trophy.
Right.
Oh, what
It's,
was it?
2005. Yeah.
I think that's the same
Yeah.
year they got engaged, which is why I put it in there.
It was a good year.
Yeah. So that's why. Oh, I thought it was their engagement.
Well, you could think that, but
I mean, I guess
everyone
it's,
just assumed it was
I could-
basketball.
I guess it's both. I guess you could just been like, man, 2005's a good year, so that's my safe combination.
And that's also where you spray paint your outfit.
Speaking of the safe, not all the locker, there was some depressing shit in there.
Yeah.
Like the obituary, the letters from the grandparents, the overall police report, the newspaper article.
Mhm. Oh, speaking of newspaper article, jumping around again, there's the one that's on the kitchen table where it talks about a woman in Seattle dying, or Washington, I don't know if it was
Yeah.
specifically Seattle, but
I think it was. Yeah.
her dying and the police officer also dying later. being
Mysteriously dying too, and then it says like his murder was like being looked into. So that plays into a really out there theory that I have that I'll bring up later at the end of the episode.
Ooh, I want to hear this theory.
It's ridiculous. I shared it with Joey, and Joey liked it, but I don't know if it's true, but I hope it is. It'd be cool.
One thing that I thought maybe is that it was just kind of like a part of a setup for what is it, Twin Mirrors?
Oh yeah, Twin Mirror, I think.
Twin Mirror. Like has something to do with the plot of that.
That'd be
I don't know.
a little
That was-
interesting call. Yeah, I mean, of course.
I thought maybe it was just kind of like Easter egg,
Right.
not so much like canonically tying the two franchises into one another, but just an Easter egg into that.
Yeah,
Because there are a few Easter eggs throughout the game. Chris has a salad fingers. We'll post it on his
What?
wall, which I don't know what a 9-year-old child in 2016 was doing.
knows anything
watching
about salad fingers.
Right. And then also too, one that I really liked was in the treehouse on the little cupboard. There was a Jet Set sticker, but it was Jet Lag because of course they couldn't have Jet Set. But it was the font and the colors and the oh god, I can't words.
Like
It's
the
okay, we know what you mean.
yeah, like the logo.
The emblem, yeah, the logo. Thank you. So I like that because I like Jet Set Radio a lot.
There's the connecting thread that they exist in the universe.
Right, Jet Lag Radio.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of Easter eggs in here, and one of them is a big, like, two of them directly link Arcadia Bay and Blackwell, which
Right.
I'm really fucking glad about with the letter in the garage.
Yeah.
The other one, not so much.
Yeah.
The buck on the shelf.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up because I thought that was interesting. So if you don't know, there's a letter in the garage that Jamie just said that it actually says that Chris's mother, Emily, I think her name is, graduated from. She's a Blackwell Academy alumni, and
Right.
but then on their bookshelf inside, there's two spots you can inspect. One spot has two of Charlie's books, and one spot has two of Emily's books. And one of the books by Emily is a study on photography by Mark Jefferson.
Right. It's Team
which-
Spirit by Mark Jefferson.
Yeah, and the cover is very iconic as far as we know of Mark Jefferson. It's a girl in black and white. But there's a I thought it was really interesting that that book was even in their household at all. But if the canon goes through, the canon ending, either ending you pick. I mean, Jefferson gets like, I'm talking about Life is Strange Season 1 here. Every ending you pick, you oust Jefferson.
Yeah.
So,
It's difficult, really, because they did say they don't want to canonize any ending.
right.
Season
well,
1.
I'm thinking, yeah, it could just be like just a little nod, and there's not really anything more to it. But you know, maybe Emily has spoilers. Also, Emily's dead in Captain Spirit, which we'll get to that in a bit. In one of the coolest reveals of the game, I think. But I don't know, unless she had passed away before.
I think that was probably it.
Jefferson was ousted, or.
Well,
She died in 2014, right? Like a year after season 1.
Right.
Oh,
That's interesting, but maybe I'm reading too much into it, and it was just
no.
like, yeah.
I think it's a good point because I had assumed that she had died before all that happened, and if that was the case, like it would make sense that it would still be in the house because it's like a memento. It's something of hers, and they wouldn't want to throw it away.
Right.
Right. We also don't know. We don't really know the proximity of Beaver Creek to Arcadia Bay.
Yeah.
So,
We know
but
it's in
given
the same
that
state, but
Jefferson
that's
was like
about
a
it.
right, I mean, we can assume they're somewhat close. Within
I
a
don't
couple
know why,
hours
but
of
I
each other.
assumed Beaver Creek was close to Portland because I thought I thought I saw something that said something about Portland, which would put it pretty far inland, and Arcadia Bay is right on the coast. So if that makes any difference,
Right. So I mean, it could just be one of those things where it was just like not removed from. Because we know the game takes place in December 2016.
Yeah.
The mother dies. What is it? 2014 or 2015?
14.
Is it 14?
I think it's set in... Right, the current game is set in 2015, I want to say?
No, it's set in 2016.
Oh, okay.
Because there's the letter in the car that kind of. It's from November 2016, and we know that Christmas is coming up, and we also see from
I'm
the emails
trying to
on
see if there's
Charlie's
any like
computers.
map of Arcadia Bay, like showing any other cities currently,
Right.
but I'm not finding anything.
I think it's pretty safe to assume Charlie is not going to have any sort of thought toward that, especially if he's losing his job and drinking himself stupid and all that.
Yeah. I fully accept that I'm probably reading more into it.
Well, it was kind of a.
That was just my instant thought. I pulled it off the shelf and I was like, "Whoa!" Mark Jefferson, and then I immediately thought, "Why is this still on their shelf?" But
Right.
it probably is just like a little nod. Also, it could be like, some people are very much into like serial killer like stories and stuff like that. So could just be like an interesting book you could own, even if it is a bit creepy.
And you can figure too that probably the Emily wouldn't immediately think, "Oh wait, I have a book by him.
Right.
Let me go remove that."
That is a good point.
She could have just even forgot that she had it.
Okay, that's interesting. So there is like a Beaver Creek Park in Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like southwest of Portland, so it's quite far compared to like where Tillamook Bay is. It's interesting. Yeah, I'm curious to actually see if they actually show it in Liz 2, where it is on the map.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Greater Oregon map.
Yeah.
What topic do we have now?
So we can go for beer cans, Mantroid, villains, treasure, and then I guess we'll leave Hot Dog Man till the end.
The treasure.
Should we go for... Yeah, let's go for the treasure.
I was going to mention the treasure. I thought that was fun. I thought it was cool, like, trying to navigate... Because I just went in blind at first. I didn't realize that there was, like, some kind of codex I needed.
Yeah, you get the map from the map decipher from the cupboard in the treehouse.
So I just went in. I'm curious if you can, if you know the, like, path beforehand, if you can figure it out without getting the cipher. Or if the game just won't let you. Oh, it can? That's cool.
Yes. I did it by accident.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. Left, right, left, left.
Yeah, I went in and I just started going directions. I
same
approached
here.
it like you would practically a maze, and so I just was doing all lefts at first, because if you just pick a direction in a maze, you most likely won't get lost. Depends on the maze's architecture. But I just started doing that, and then I was like, well, this isn't getting me anywhere, so I just started going random ways.
It was some. I was kind of seeing if there was going to be like a Lost Woods type thing where you could follow, like if there was a sound that was
Oh,
Right.
nice. Yeah.
if you could isolate
Good
what
reference.
direction the sound was coming from, like if there was a sound that you could isolate from which direction it was coming from.
Yeah,
It
should-
didn't seem like there was. There was some like ambient sounds, but it didn't seem like there was any.
they were
any
relevant to the path you were
directional-
taking. Yeah,
Right.
We really should say that the combination to get through that maze is left, right, left, left.
Yeah. Yeah. So that.
Honestly, I really did enjoy that aspect of it. Whenever I found out you could actually use the map.
and the treasure at the end of the maze is sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
The treasure is tears, so that's nice. A
And-
fun maze.
And Norman basically said the beginning of the game shows the beginning of that song.
Right.
I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head,
Uh,
but it's
Death
like
with
Sufjan
Grace.
Stevens.
Or Death with Dignity
Death
or
with
something like
Dignity.
that. Yeah. By Sufjan.
Yeah, and he said the middle is during the moment of calm in the treehouse, and the end of the song is used when you find the treasure. Which is like, oh shit, that sucks. And
Which-
the lyrics are fucking
And
worse.
I think is that song from the album where he talks about his mom and his dad. Like it's actually about the
I don't
passing
know.
of
I've,
his
never,
mother.
I've not listened to that album that it's from.
Yeah, I think
I
think that song
I think
is-
I've only listened to Sufjan's like first 3 albums, maybe.
Oh, okay.
I think
That's
I
way
think
more than
the
me,
last
dude.
one I listened to was Year of the Cat, so I think that was his 4th, maybe. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. But I'm not sure if that is or not. There was should have known. I mean, like, you can expect, you know what to expect from Dontnod with Life is Strange, that it's going to be sad and hit hard. But
But
also,
also,
too,
just
in the trailer, it playing Sufjan, you should know what you're getting into.
yeah, yeah.
The
I
signs
mean,
were there.
it is
Yeah.
heavy and it's heart wrenching. But man, I'm just constantly impressed with the music.
And they also, there was also the track Moon and Moon from Bat for Lashes. If you go and play the record on, it was Emily's record.
Oh, that was a
but
good one.
in
Yeah.
Charlie's room, there's a record player.
I actually
Yeah,
really,
you can play.
I'd never heard that song before. I really enjoyed it.
Bat for Lashes is really good. I got excited when I saw him pull out the record.
Oh, you knew it just by the cover.
Oh yeah.
I haven't actually heard that song in its entirety because I didn't want to feel too much. You know, I was like, ah, shit. It was like I turned it off, but then it's either I turned it off or I left the room. And
I
you know,
thought-
it's kind of nice to hear, you know, Charlie's opinions about the song, though.
Right.
Which
It's
go ahead, Joey.
it's a very touching and just kind of somber moment of Charlie laying on the bed and listening to his mom's records and like kind of thinking back on her and all that. It was bittersweet, I think, is an apt term.
I gotta say the moments things where you can sit down and just kind of, you know, chill. Those of course have been in there since Life is Strange season 1, and I've always liked them, but I never really hung around them much beyond like once like Chloe or Max's like inner dialogue was done. I was pretty much done at the moment. I'd get up and move on. But something about Captain Spirit, I don't know if it was like the new, like, I don't know if it was just the vibe of it, or that maybe I knew I was playing a little game that was kind of smaller, so I was trying to make the most time out of it. But I think it was maybe just like the quality of those little moments. I loved them so much more, and I spent like so much time in like the 3 possible moments you can hit in Captain Spirit, and I enjoyed them like way more than I did any of the moments in season 1 or Before the Storm.
Actually,
I liked the camera, all the different camera angles it would switch to. I like that Chris would actually go through like different animations. Like if you sit on the couch in the living room, he'll actually
That was
kind of like
really well done.
yeah.
Speaking
he'll
of-
he'll like swivel around and like hang upside down on the couch and just kind of what a kid does.
Because
when
they
they're sitting
don't
around
play any
thinking.
music, right? And they don't play any music in that one. And I thought it emulated very well, like a kid bored trying to like just be in the presence
Yeah.
of someone, but like bored and wanting attention, and so like very antsy. And the fact that they didn't play any music during that whole sequence was really added to that, and I thought that was like really, really well done.
did
Yeah.
you hear the dialogue between Charlie and Chris when he's on the couch?
I don't remember. What do they say?
I think Charlie was already asleep maybe.
when you did it.
when I did it.
Oh yeah, it has to be like whenever he's watching the game. It's basically like Charlie's talking about Chris, just talking about. I can't remember the specifics, but like Charlie's like, you do realize you can sit next to me, right? So basically sits like Chris sits at like the end of the couch, but basically Charlie puts like his head on top of Charlie's head and just kind of they just talk about how much they kind of love each other, I guess.
Oh wow! I
no,
really
I
didn't
didn't
sit
get
around
that.
long
I
enough
was
for
like,
that.
oh wow, that's awesome. And then as soon as I like got out the moment, it's like I heard Charlie shouting at the game. It's like, come the fuck on! I was like, oh, there goes the moment.
So it's gone.
Yeah.
So what happened when
I think
yeah, when I sat on the couch, immediately, like the second I sat down, the phone started ringing, and then
Oh, really?
And then Charlie started yelling at Chris to go get the phone, and so I was like trying to get over there, and I'm like trying to pick up the cell phone because I thought that was what was ringing, and then I realized there's a wall phone, and by the time I got over there, it just stopped, and then nobody ever said anything about it. And I was just like, all right, well.
Just disappointed look from Charlie.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's interesting because her phone never rang when I played through it. Who calls you?
I don't know what it was.
Shit, who is it that calls?
Derek.
Oh, it's a
the church
like,
dude.
church person. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you do the different phone calls, by the way?
I called
did
everybody.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's a secret one.
Okay, I wanted to talk about this because do you mean the two possible calls you can get with Mrs. Reynolds?
No.
Oh, okay. Tell me, because there's multiple Reynolds calls and they're weird. But
Yes.
There's a weirder one.
okay, tell me.
Believe me. So, inside Charlie's room, after you find the key and the lamp and you read the note from Audra, you can phone her and it's a strip club.
Oh,
What?
No.
Yeah, so you hear like saying this code name is like, it's like, do you want a good time? It's like, Chris is like really confused. It's like, I don't know, I had to ask my dad. It's like, your dad, how old are you? And then Chris just hangs up the phone.
Oh no.
What?
I was like,
Man, that's,
oh no.
Wow.
That's cool that they added in the phone calls.
yeah.
But Zach, I know you are dying to talk about the Reynolds sitch. So.
Yeah. Okay, so who did all of you guys call Miss Reynolds?
Yes.
I didn't call it all.
I couldn't because Charlie was like, you better not be doing pranks.
Oh,
I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
kids always pranking. What about you, Sean, Aaron? Did you guys use the phone?
I did. I called all the numbers.
I don't think I called anyone. I didn't think I used the phone.
Okay, Aaron, what conversation did you get with Miss Reynolds?
I got Darth Vader.
Okay, what the hell?
Yeah,
So
what?
I talked to friend of the show, Tomorrow Heart. We talked shortly after me and him both played through it, and we both brought up our conversations that we got with Miss Reynolds, and he got a conversation that was extremely close to a conversation I got with Miss Reynolds that's triggered in the final sequence, where Chris basically says like, "Hey, can Steven come over and help me do some modifications to the treehouse?"
I remember this.
Yeah, and so I had this conversation with Miss Reynolds at the end of the game, when she's like at the door and you're talking to her in person. But
Yeah.
Tamara Hart said he got this conversation over the phone, and so they didn't talk about that at the end of the game, which was interesting. But I called Miss Reynolds, and I just got really creepy breathing.
Yeah.
Somebody picks up the phone, and there's just heavy breathing, and they never say anything, and Chris is really creeped out. And then I think Chris hangs up on them, or do they hang up on him? I don't remember.
No, I
but
think
that's
he
all that
hangs up.
happens.
Yeah.
I know who it is.
Who?
It's Claire's grandkids.
Oh, is
What
it?
do you look the two kids at the end?
Yeah,
Why do you think?
because she said it's her grandkids that are staying with them for the holidays.
Oh, do you talk to what if you get that call? Does she like say something at the end about it?
No, I'll talk about it during the
Okay.
ending.
Okay,
It's
well,
kind of like there.
maybe you'll break my creepy theory because my creepy theory
Not really.
has to deal with that.
I like
with
your
that,
theory.
with that weird phone call. But we'll get to that. And then I also, on top of this phone call, I had another friend of mine. I brought it up with him, and he said on his first playthrough he didn't call anybody. So he was like, tomorrow I'm going to do another playthrough. I'll call her and I'll let you know. And he called her. He did 2 playthroughs, the hero that he is, to try to test this. And he called her like the second he was allowed to, like right after breakfast, and he got the treehouse conversation. And then he said he also called her right at the end, and he got the heavy breathing. So
I'm guessing that's like when
it could
Charlie's
be that
asleep.
yeah, and it also could be because Miss Reynolds, whenever she comes to your door, she says that
She was out for a walk.
yeah, she was out for a walk and she heard a loud sound in the house. So it could be that at a certain point, at a certain trigger in the game, could be when Charlie falls asleep, she goes out for a walk, and if you call at any moment after that part, you get heavy breathing. But if you call before that moment, you actually get her and you get the treehouse conversation. So,
I want to see what the actual point is
point to what?
between the transitioning between the two.
Oh, like, yeah, what the actual trigger is.
Trigger is, yeah.
Yeah, it might be Charlie falling asleep. I don't know. I don't know what else it could be.
Time. I mean, it could be another time thing.
Yeah. Anyway.
I guess your theory also too doesn't quite work because you don't get to call Miss Reynolds after she shows up.
What do you mean?
So,
I guess we'll have to bring that up whenever I bring my theory up. Unless I could just bring it up now. But I at least want to talk about going to Mantroid's planet first because that's probably my favorite part of the game.
Alright, should we talk about that now? Because, like, we can talk about the villains and then the beer cans. The fucking bottles.
Yeah, we can talk about all that first. We'll save Mantroid for last. Before.
Yeah, I didn't do the villains, so I'm curious what that's about.
The villains is just that you have this in your kind of like superhero to-do list. You have to go meet basically all of like the superheroes in the Captain Spirit cinematic universe. So there's like some of them are Captain Spirit's allies and some of them are the enemies. And there's a few. They're scattered around.
Apparently you could just look at them.
Oh, you don't even need
really?
to like
Is that-
interact
Yeah.
with them?
But where's the fun in that?
Yeah, where's the fun in that?
Oh, so are you saying like
there's
okay? Because I had on my whatever my task list, like some of them were colored in and others weren't. So you just have to do them one by one.
Right, yeah. Just whenever
okay.
you interact with one, it fills in, and then once you get them all, then like that task gets checked off.
Nice. Okay.
The colored ones are done. Some of them were really, really easy. The other ones were just a pain in the ass to find. Especially the fucking pirate.
Oh, he's do you mean the ally one? The one up in he's in the treehouse.
Yeah, I had no fucking idea about you could even go in the treehouse.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like in my first playthrough, I was like at the end the treehouse snapped. I was like, oh, I guess I can't go up there.
Well,
It's not safe.
there's a moment you can pick up the walkie-talkie in Chris's room, and
Yeah, and
he
calls
checks
Sky
in
Pirate.
with him. Yeah, Sky Pirate. And so that right there told me that, like, oh, he's probably one of the friends I need to go check on.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
up in the treehouse there's Sky Pirate, one of the allies of Kevin Spirit, who
There's the
resides. He overlooks
and
the
the
Flying
rest?
Fortress.
Snowmancer you have to look at, he's one of them.
Right.
The rest are indoors, being the Marty Rex in the living room.
There's a weird,
Um,
car scorpion shark hybrid.
Shark Stinger, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a nightmare of a creation.
Then Power Bear, the other dude,
Right.
and the Forest Warrior. I believe that's it.
There's the what's his name? There's there's the one that I believe it's the showdown with Forest Warrior, maybe, where it's the weird bug guy. But then
Oh, yeah.
the weird bug guy also has a brother that's in the treehouse.
I don't think he counts
Oh.
as one of them though.
Right.
Oh, does he not?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a
Oh.
weird name. I don't remember it. But
Also,
yeah.
speaking of dolls, fucking Chris is like in the treehouse. Is like, Dad said this is a
Oh
girl's
yeah,
doll.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't care.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
was.
nice
I
hours.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really cute.
Fucking good on you, kid.
That was sweet. I love that.
The Ice Princess, I think it
Yeah.
was.
Oh yes, fucking Chris watching Frozen.
Frozen, yeah.
That was,
like,
that was
Oh,
nice.
of course. Only 2015 kids remember this. Whenever it came out in 2014, right? Or 2014. I don't know.
I don't know when the movie came out.
When did the meme die? We'll work backwards from there.
When the meme died. I want to. I think it was 2013. It had to have
Yeah,
been.
Let's leave it at that.
So yeah, you can play Bullseye with the beer cans.
I
That
mean-
pissed me off.
I didn't even realize that was like a task.
Pissed you off.
I was just doing it for kicks.
Yeah. It's
I
possible
set
to
'em
do it
up.
in one shot.
Yeah, so I set them up, and it's pretty easy physics, right? You have to actually knock them off of the banister.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't just knock them down, because I knocked them all down, and all of them off of the banister except one that was laying there, and then it took me because of the way, because it fell down, but it didn't roll off. It was still on the banister, so it didn't count as being done. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then because of the way that it was there, it took me 2 or 3 more snowballs to actually hit the can, because it would either go just over it, or it would hit the banister before it hit the can and not knock it off. And I was like, man, I knocked all these down in my first attempt. Why are you jocking me?
Dude, well, that's really interesting, though, because I wonder if the physics are programmed as such to where they just fall where they may. And
Yeah.
that's really cool.
I think they're probably not full havoc, but I think it's probably I don't think that it's just a straight up scripted.
Right,
physics.
because I didn't
Yeah,
know
it
you
doesn't
could
seem
knock
like
them
it
over
is.
like that. Everyone I knocked over just fell off.
There's something that I kind of want to talk about since we're talking about physics. This is kind of a really technical little bit, but did anyone, what did everyone think about Life is Strange, well, Captain Spirit being in the new Unreal Engine?
Oh, you can see the difference for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
can. I think I said that several times throughout. I was playing it to Amy. I was like, this game is such a big improvement over, definitely over Season 1 and even over Before the Storm.
Yeah.
The faces are really good, and the animation. Of course, the lip syncing is much better. And the hair looks really, really good now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like.
It's a huge improvement.
You can even see the
They-
tear stains on his cheeks. I thought that was
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really well
Which
done.
we got that some with Max.
Right.
But
in
it wasn't
season
as
one,
prominent.
but it wasn't right. And I think I liked. Well, I don't think I know that I liked too that while it wasn't updating graphics and it did look quite a bit better with the new engine, it also they maintained their style. with it.
Yeah. Definitely.
So it still had that very unique
Art style.
right. It still had that that unique art direction to it, which I appreciated, because I think honestly I love that
Mhm.
and I think that would be sorely missed if they went for, because we see with like Vampire and all that, it has more of a photorealistic.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I would definitely.
and-
I would sorely miss the style of if they left it
Definitely.
behind.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
and that really sets the tone. That and like the cinematography, how even on static shots the camera's just like swaying a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot.
I think one of the best looking characters in Captain Spirit that the new like improvements really come through on are is Miss Reynolds when she talks to you at the door.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah.
Everybody in the previous games kind of has this. Obviously, the game is meant to kind of look like painted, and but everybody sort of has this like very smooth plastic texture to like their faces and stuff. But I think
Oh yeah.
Miss Reynolds looks really good. She has a lot of lines in her face, and she looked like I was really impressed with her model in that like final sequence when she's talking to you.
Yeah, her
I don't
hair
think we've
is
actually
awesome.
ever seen someone around her age in the game in like the Life is Strange universe. I
Yeah,
can think of.
There's like the homeless lady
yeah.
behind the two whales.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's
but-
quite that old.
Yeah, she's not that old, yeah. But I mean, she probably had like some of the most texture on her face out of everybody in season 1. But I think it really shined through with Miss Reynolds. She looked really good. I liked her model a lot.
Well, I think too, Dontnod probably had a little bit more time, I guess, with this, because they had been working even last year when it was announced. They had been working on it already, and I know that they had started production in 2013, I think, for season 1.
Didn't
But
they say
also
that
it's-
they started production on Life is Strange 2 when they released the limited edition?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was around that time.
So I
And
was like,
plus
what,
two,
a
we
year
know that
ago?
they're gonna
2 years ago, right?
2 years. Yeah.
Holy cow!
So, but also too, we know that one, they're more familiar. They're more familiar with what they're doing because they've already, even though it is the updated engine, it's still they're more they're more familiar with it. I mean, you work on one game and like there's a few new things to learn with the new engine, but you still have the idea of what you're doing. And then also too, we can assume that they have like a bigger budget for Life is Strange 2. We know that it's being launched at $40, which is totally reasonable.
Right.
I think it would be reasonable to launch it at 60 even.
Definitely.
But so with it launching, it costing more, and it already being an established franchise with a pretty solid backing, they can take the risk of having more budget for it.
Mhm.
So
Which
I think
I'm
we do
excited
see
to
the
see.
benefit of that.
Yeah, definitely. I guess we'll kind of have to leave that kind of technical side until we get to see more in Life is Strange 2,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't really have that much to go on.
The only thing is, I don't know if anyone else played it on PC, but I found the controls of like picking like your dialogue choice or your option, I found that was like, for me, because I wasn't using a mouse, so it might just be that I was just using my trackpad on my laptop. It was like it was just like really like uneasy to use, but I feel like it would be easy if you are using a mouse.
Yeah, I played with mouse and keyboard, and it controlled fine. It was really good. You just scrolled the mouse wheel to pick what you wanted.
It was
worked really
difficult
well.
to actually. It didn't really say for me, it was like how to choose it. It was like
You have to let it
kinda
sit
have to-
for a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah, no, see, it didn't really explain how to use it, and because on the trackpad you had to use like 2 fingers instead of 1, and I was like really confused about that, and then it was just a hard time for me. There was just a lot of stuff going on, and like there was something else where I don't think it said how to do it either, and I was sat there and I was like, I have no idea what to click.
Oh, was it maybe how to like pick the super option?
Yeah, I think it was that.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Hold E, right?
Yeah, it doesn't tell you right away. There's no like immediate tutorial for it, so it's kind of like you just have to like sit on the option for a little bit,
And
then
there was
it'll give you a little pop up.
something else I was having a problem with, like just like, you know, when you, I don't know, there was, it might be something to do with the super as well, where it was like, you had to click it, or just like had to click it, but it was like not working. So I was just like hitting my trackpad. I was like, this will do, and then eventually it would work.
Oh, was it? There was a couple of like quick time events where you had to repeatedly click in order to. It wasn't like just a click once. Like there was a couple of like struggle.
Yeah, like when you're
Oh,
fighting
no.
the water eater.
It was a different one to that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe it was just me, my laptop being buggy. I don't know. But yeah, no. But apart from that, like, it wasn't a really big issue. Like the trackpad thing is just like, I presumed it was easier if you had a mouse, and I should have used the mouse really, but I just couldn't bother to plug it in. I feel like a lot of my issues would probably have been solved if I'd used a mouse.
You did this to yourself, Sean.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually like some decent feedback and something that they should take into consideration about with season 2. I'm sure when season 2 actually launches in the beginning of the game, it'll give you tutorials on how to actually like do this stuff, and I hope it is a little bit more intuitive.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a little bit of a learning curve. It's not a very steep one, but it still isn't very intuitive at the beginning. And that was something I noticed too. I got used to it pretty quick, but it's still like at the beginning I was like, oh, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah, I will say... Oh, go ahead.
And, well, I was just going to say too, it helps with... And I found this with Season 1, with Before the Storm, and really any game that's like third-person kind of adventure game that doesn't really have a cursor on it, or like a reticle
crosshair.
You can still kind of find the reticle point. Every game is going to have a reticle point regardless if it has a visual reticle. It's slightly over Chris's shoulder, so there's a few items that are kind of close to one another, and it can be a bit difficult to differentiate between the different items. But it's like slightly over Chris's right shoulder, I believe, is where the reticle point is. So you can kind of get used to that, and then that makes actually tracking the different items a lot easier when you kind of have the visual memorization of where that reticle point is.
Speaking of items, there's one thing that I really did like in this was the addition of the document gallery.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah. That was cool.
Because in Life is Strange Season 1, you don't really know what you've seen, but now you can just look back in the pause menu and just take a moment just to see what you have.
I didn't notice that, actually. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking sweet. So, let's get into... Let's talk about Metroid.
I did want to say, going back to the whole, like, there could have been, like, some UI stuff done better. Joey, when you did bring up this sort of, like, power struggle thing like you do with the water eater, I will say I didn't fully know what I was supposed to do at that point. It, like, the mouse came up, and I was like, alright, and I clicked it once, thinking that it was going to, like, do a traditional QuickTime thing where it was going to throw, like, several buttons at me. So I clicked once, nothing happened. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I need to hold. And I click and hold, nothing happened. And I was like, oh, I guess I need to tap. So, like, that part wasn't, like, very well telegraphed, that what you exactly needed to do. But, I'm sure these things will get, ironed out a bit better for the full game.
Mm-hmm.
But, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of picked up on it because of the little, like, action marks around, like, the little lightning bolts around the mouse. I kind of picked up that, okay, it was like a click. A bunch of clicks.
Right.
But, yeah, there was some, like, some things that just weren't exactly intuitive in the beginning. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll see some of that smoothed out.
Yeah.
But yes, Metroid.
So it takes a bit of work to get to Metroid's planet. You need to finish your costume, and you need to get the card keys from
Right.
behind the couch. Then go into the car, which Aaron mentioned the transport sequence earlier, and we kind of talked about the planet a little bit. So you get an idea of like what Mantroid sounds like, what the planet looks like, and kind of his like abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact: the guy who did the voice of Mantroid is also the same person who did the voice of Derek on the phone and the pizzeria guy.
Oh, nice.
Same dude.
Mantroid is the
We
pizza
might
man.
have already mentioned this, but Rachel said that the voice actor for Charlie is the voice actor for season 2. No, not season 2. Before the Storm, Frank. Is this correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nick Apostolides. That is the same dude.
That's so cool.
We need to
Yeah.
get him on the show soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much to talk about.
So yeah, he kind of basically just talks about, I'm everywhere. You can't hurt me. Then you have the fighting sequence, and then you see where Mantroid came from. The name,
Right.
anyway.
Which is
Which
probably
is sad.
Mantroid.
Yeah, it's really sad, but it's definitely my favorite like part of the game. And there's another part you can find this out elsewhere in the game in one of the emails that like Charlie has sent out about Emily's death. And it's stated in one of the emails that she dies she was hit by a car at the intersection of Mantle and Asteroid. And yeah, it's shown in this like nightmare sequence on Mantroid's planet that you see these two street signs at their intersection at the corner. But the second half of Mantle is sort of worn off the street sign, and the first half of Asteroid is sort of worn off. And of course that combines into Mantroid, which was a really cool reveal, and also really sad, and
Yeah.
kind of
Right.
takes some of the playful like fun out of this like fictional villain of Mantroid that they've kind of like built up the whole game before this, and you're like, oh, this is actually Mantroid is a lot bigger deal than I thought it was.
I've got some fun facts about this segment of the game.
I would actually love
Thanks
to hear
to
them, because
Nolan.
I had just some thoughts of my own, but I want to hear yours first, your facts.
Okay, so there are 3 different options for this sequence.
Okay.
There's apparently one where you don't get to the street in time. Another one where you don't tap.
Mhm.
And then there's the correct one where you basically just tap, get there, do the tap, and then, the reveal. I don't know what the other 2 are, but apparently they are there.
It's interesting.
I figured there was a
Nice to
fail
be
state for the tapping.
Yeah.
And I think also too there's probably a fail state for the water eater.
Wait,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so what
Similar
happened
thing.
after you guys tapped for Mantroid?
Just shows the street sign and he just falls down.
Yeah, I
you
think
kind of.
Chris
That's
kind of
the-
like faints, I
Yeah,
guess.
okay, that's what happened for me too.
Yeah, I think that's the way you're supposed
I
to
didn't
do
know. It sounded like, it almost sounded as if like you guys were able to see him, or he like manifested himself in like a physical
Oh.
form.
No, you never see
I feel
him.
like they're saving that for the main game.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I don't know. I just like I was thinking about Mantroid and like wondering if it was and it'll probably be revealed later on. I don't need to know right now, but I was wondering if it was more of an abstract thing, which I'm more inclined to believe. Like if he's just sort of the representation of all Chris's inner thoughts and insecurities and fears and all the negative stuff, or if there's a side to him that he sees in his dad and Charlie.
I'm sure that will definitely be a theme.
Mm-hmm.
It's reminded me of an old Doctor Who episode.
Yeah.
There's like an episode where David Tennant was the Doctor, where there's this kid who can trap people in drawings and stuff. Who's kind of been like possessed by an alien, and she drew like a picture of her deceased dad because he was like apparently asshole, like domestic violence and stuff, and basically all the worst qualities of him just in the closet, just coming alive and stuff. It's like shit.
I don't think I saw that one.
But yeah, I'm sure that will definitely definitely be a part. Which, when we talk about the ending, I actually have some more on that. Just the whole like manifestations of grief and the things, especially from a young age, child psychology, stuff like that. But also too, I mean, like the whole, when you find out like the whole him being Captain Spirit, Chris being Captain Spirit, is like left over from his mom, like getting him into comic books and telling him that, you know, he could be, that he was her superhero and all that. It's really like, god damn, like
Yeah.
just, I knew, you know what you're getting into. You know what you're getting into with the Life is Strange game, but it's still
Yeah.
You don't know how
It's-
far you're getting into it.
it still takes you by surprise every time.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, that hits.
So, should we talk about the true superhero, Hot Dog Man?
Yes.
Yes.
So there's a bunch of Hot Dog Man stuff, the comic, the website, the drawings around the poster.
Mhm.
But there's a little game you can do.
Right. And it's actually one of the things on your checklist.
Yeah.
The hardest to complete.
Yeah. So I tried almost every combination out there, like with dates and stuff. But apparently it's just hot dog typed out in numbers.
Right.
And,
Which,
and
you know,
that's
I wonder
HAWT
the original person to find that. I wonder how they came across that. How they
Yeah,
figured that out.
because I definitely didn't even try anything over 4 digits because I was assuming it was like a traditional like phone password. I thought it was going to be like a date or something that was important.
I tried
think I
8
only
digits.
made one attempt.
Really?
I tried like 000.
Yeah, I did not even know that was a thing.
I tried, like,
I tried
0
Chloe's
4
birthday,
times,
and
and
then
then
that didn't
when
work.
it
So I
wasn't
was like,
that, I was
alright,
like,
I'm just gonna
okay.
do something else for a while. So I didn't
And then I
actually
gave
end
up.
up playing the game, but I'm gonna go back and do it.
Yeah, I went up to 8 digits because I tried different dates. I tried December 16th, 2004. So I did like 12/16, 2014, 16/12, 2014. I did December 20th. I did like 2006. I did February 8th, 2007. Just like basically all the like dates that were pointed out in the game, I tried. But I mean, I tried for a lot, and finally I just like, I texted Jamie. I was like, "What the fuck is this password?"
Yeah, that was basically mine. I tried a few numbers, and as I was in the middle of trying them, Amy was next to me, and she was texting Tomorrow Heart, and she was like, "What the hell? Did you figure out the password to the phone?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's super esoteric, and there's like no hint to it in the game." And so we were like, "Oh, well, then just tell us." And he was like, "Yeah, it's hot dog." And it's like, how are you supposed to figure that out?
Oh boy. I'm trying to find like that conversation, Joey.
I know,
of, like what the password is, but I just, God, it's gonna go completely off topic. But I have a little bit of a story time.
Well, I know,
You guys are down.
before we get into that, I know Edward and Michelle were legitimately surprised at the fact that people figured it out so quickly. I saw on Twitter, they were like, "How did people figure this out already?" So like they legitimately wanted it to take a little bit, but
People don't
it was
mess
cracked
around
within
when it
like
comes to hot dog man.
within like an hour and a half of the game launching.
So
What's your story, Jamie?
yeah. So I'm trying to find this because I had a little bit of a theory regarding the ending, which I'm trying to find because I need to kind of like find the notes that I wrote, and the only notes I did write are with a conversation that I had with Joey. But I just saw an image that really, it made me laugh because I was playing Arkham Knight a few weeks, like last week, right, to kill time. And there's a moment where Robin is in like a certain situation, but I forgot he had like how dark and brooding like the Batman Arkham series is. that Robin was wearing the fucking like the 1960s Adam West era costume. And I was like fucking losing my shit because it looked so ridiculous. It was like, it was really hard to take him seriously.
Are you talking about like the Speedos?
It looks like yeah, like the Boy Wonder, like straight
Fucking
up.
Burt Ward.
In the game, it looks like Griffin McElroy in a Robin costume.
All right.
But
Okay, I've got the theory ready for later. But yeah, Mustard Party. It's a fun game.
it is. So if you haven't had the pleasure of playing yet, it plays a lot like Flappy Bird. You get points from both your mustard squeezes. So if you hold down while if you continue to propel yourself into the air by mustard, then that gives you points, as well as I believe it's like a point per second for every time that you're holding it. And then you also get 10 points, I believe it is, from each mustard packet that is suspended by Vulture. You don't get any extra points. I was trying to like put out the grills by dousing them in mustard.
By mustard in them.
But you don't get anything extra for that.
Yeah.
But
Neither do you get anything by covering the vultures in mustard.
Right.
I'm so glad I didn't play this yet because this is awesome. Just hearing the
It
description.
really is. The music is really amazing too.
Yeah.
It's a fun little game. It's a fun little distraction.
And you can actually run on the ground, so it's not like if you hit the ground, you die, like in Flappy Bird. But you do, if you hit the grills, or if you hit one of the vultures, then you're out of here.
So everybody give your top scores.
I just want to say before I do give the score though, I guess I'll save mine till last.
Okay,
Sure.
I'm gonna whenever. Okay, I'll get to that whenever Jamie says his score. I tried it twice. The first time I didn't even. Your challenge is actually to like. You have to like surpass 500, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
The first time I tried,
it's low. It's lower than that. It's
okay.
265, I think.
All right.
Okay. Well, the first time I played, I didn't even beat that. I like died before then. And then my second attempt, which is my last attempt, I haven't played it since then. I got like I think it was around 780. I don't remember the exact score, but it was 780. It was nearly 800.
I did 2 attempts as well. I got just over 300. I think like 303 in my first attempt, and then I got like 580 something in my second attempt. But I stopped playing because I knew if I kept playing it, I would be there for hours. Because this is just absolutely something that I would sit there for hours playing. So that's why I had to like force myself to stop playing. What was Sean? You said you played it or no?
No, I didn't get to play it because I didn't know the password, and I haven't played it yet. Again, I've only played it once so far. The game, I mean.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I'm sad because I wanted to play it, but like I just had no ideas for what the password could be. And then I gave up. I literally had one attempt and I gave up because I just didn't know what I was going to put in there. And I thought I'd have a look around and I'd like find something maybe, but I didn't find anything to put in there. So.
Well, now you know, and you can go back and...
Mayhaps I will.
Enjoy the
Maybe I'll
highlight.
beat all of your scores.
Well, Jamie, it's time you tell us yours.
Okay, so I wanna just throw this out there before I give the score. I've put a total amount of 13 hours into Captain Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I guess about at least half of those were during playing actual Mustard Party. So my high score is 4,657.
That's impressive.
447.
Yeah.
You're definitely mustarding big.
Yeah.
4,657, you said?
I'm
Yeah.
coming for your brand.
So if you can beat Jamie's score, take a screenshot and
I've seen-
tweet it at Blackwell
PDcast.
PDcast. We
We'll
can't afford
retweet
the
it.
O. But yeah,
We can't afford the
I've only seen 2 people beat that score. both of them worked on the game.
Right.
Like apparently Norman said his score was like in the 9,000s.
Oh shit.
And there is like a maximum
Wow.
speed you can get.
It's over 9,000.
I hate that reference. And
Hell,
Yeah.
9,000.
shut up, Nappa. I haven't seen the series, but I know who Nappa is. I feel like the only exposure I have to Dragon Ball is the Mega 64, like the Frieza saga in like 5 minutes. Those videos are fucking amazing. They are. Think of like really, really low budget Dragon Ball. It's.
I saw
glorious. What?
I saw it was this like Sphinx cat that was like laying on this couch, or it was like playing or something. I don't know. And it had one arm out. It looked like it was like boxing, so it looked like it was like in punching stance. It was stanced up, and someone photoshopped it to what's the new Dragon Ball Z with the
Super?
cat? Super. Someone photoshopped it over the like the cat character's body and like punching Son Goku, and it cracked me up. But anyway, so I'll stop talking about Dragon Ball Z now.
Oh boy. Yeah, Mustard Party.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's free.
So if you can beat Jamie's score,
We really want it on the App Store.
yeah, please bring that to mobile. If you can beat Jamie's high score, tweet it to us.
I'm coming for your friend.
Also,
Jamie.
too.
I just want to let you know.
We're going to. Should we talk about that, or should we just save it?
Talk about what?
The
His idea
Extra
he
Life
had.
plan.
Yeah.
The what now?
The Extra Life plan.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. It's give a little bit of tease what it
Okay.
has.
So one of the things that we're going to have for this year's Extra Life will be a Mustard Party 2 tournament. Still working out the logistics. We're probably going to have some sort of like donation betting system on who will win, and we'll figure something out. To make it interactive and fun, and we'll have a little competition between ourselves of who can get the highest score on stream. So, and maybe if it coincides with our ability to have a guest on, maybe we can have a guest playing.
Yeah.
But we'll see. That is definitely tentative, but
Yeah.
but
We'll hopefully get it working.
right.
Oh, shit.
So-
Well, if they
look
release it
forward to
on app, then it will be easier for all of
It's going to be
us.
zappity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be hard to screen share though.
Well, Discord now has that is an alternative we could have done too. Is just an actual. We've had a lot of problems with this episode.
Yeah.
With, something we
We
could
went
have
onto
alternatively done was
Discord.
actually do a
Skype.
Discord call instead of being in the server. But anyway, now that Discord actually has screen sharing with audio, it'll be a little bit easier to set that up for doing the tournament.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. The end of the year. But anyway, I digress.
So shall we start talking about the ending then?
Yes, let's.
Okay. So we mentioned previously that Charlie falls asleep, wakes up, falls over, causes a bit of a noise, and Claire knocks on the door. Well, rings the doorbell, see everything all right. And now, all right, I'm gonna go over the different the overall. There's 3 ways this can go, right?
All right.
Okay.
I'm just gonna call them what they are. There's the bad one, like the really bad one, where Claire says, "All right, I've heard enough. Stephen and I are coming over. We're gonna take you away." That's the very bad one. The second one is where Claire's kind of doubtful about everything going on. She's kind of like suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is oblivious, where she has no idea.
No idea.
Okay. I feel like I've
In order
gotten 2 of those, but not
In
the really
order-
bad one.
The oblivious one is like you actually get learn a little bit more about how Charlie sees how Charlie thinks Chris sees him. But you have to do very specific things to get it. You can't do the take the garbage out. You have to choose very specific dialogue options, like video games, pine tree, and didn't hear a noise. Those are like the three that you kind of have to go for.
I chose all of those options, but I did take out the recycling. So
and you also have to have armor on, so basically your bruises isn't showing.
Right.
Which is yeah.
Yeah, that's. Oh, also too, another just a quick aside, another little interactive thing. The house is very interactive, and the outside is very interactive. You can also make Charlie some mac and cheese, and it almost you know. Speaking of Charlie,
I want to talk about the mac and cheese.
he's almost a sympathetic character. He's just. Do what?
I want to talk about the mac and cheese because I thought I was making that for myself. I thought I was making that for Chris. Okay, and I was really upset because I was like, oh yeah, Chris, treat yourself. And then it's done, and then he takes it over to Charlie, and I'm like, excuse me? This was for you, Chris, not for Charlie. I was really upset about it. I just really wanted Chris to have the mac and cheese. I don't know, it really bothered me because I didn't understand that I was making it for someone else.
Ultimately, the joke's on Charlie because Chris doesn't even put any water in the mac and cheese. So you don't want to eat that mac and cheese anyway.
Yeah,
well,
nor does he.
It's
pull
also
off the
in the
top.
refrigerator, so I'm assuming it's some sort of special mac and cheese that just needs to be microwaved and not like the pantry stored like bowl of mac and cheese
We
where
have
you have
those
to add
here.
water.
Yeah, I don't think it's like Easy Mac. I think it's like already made.
It's like
to heat it up, but he doesn't take off
it's
the
like
top.
Tesco mac and cheese or
which
something.
makes no sense.
Like ready meal.
Which, granted, like I'm not expecting, nor am I holding it against them for not like modeling in the different stages of mac and cheese and like adding extra animations to make it real world. I have to suspend your disbelief for that, but
I want the mac and cheese minigame.
it's,
yeah, I want it to be super realistic, and you put the cheese powder in there and it gets all over the counter.
you open it won't open easily, and then you finally get it open and it just flies everywhere.
All your noodles. Yeah. Man.
It's a Cooking Mama mini game. But going back, you almost want to sympathize with Charlie. He's almost a sympathetic character. I mean, I can't. Especially with the parallels of like my relationship with my stepfather when I was a kid, which we talked about, and all that. Like, there's just some inexcusable things that. So I can't sympathize with him. Like, I just don't have that in me.
I'm definitely where you are with that.
There's like these moments that they share where it's almost like you want. It's like God, you want that to be their relationship. You want where they have the moment with the mac and cheese where Charlie is like, you make the best. Like Chris is like, Mom always made the best mac and cheese, and then Charlie is like, you make the best mac and cheese. They have these little tender moments where you want that to be their relationship, and it's painful. It's painful that they don't have that. But then Charlie goes back to fucking drinking and screaming at the game, the sports ball, and it's like, well, you're kind of irredeemable as you are.
The thing is, I feel like if you're gonna Chris has like an amazing imagination, right?
Right.
And that's clearly shown in Captain Spirit. It feels like what Charlie is doing, it's kind of ripping that away from him a little bit.
I would say it's kind of the opposite. It's more galvanizing. I know, like, speaking personally, when I was going through very similar things, like, my imagination was all I had. I kind of sequestered away from, like, real people, and it was just, I was, like, sucked up into my own imagination. You create this other world for yourself, and that's where you hide. It's like your safe space.
Yeah, it's almost like he's like pushing Chris further into it.
Right. That was the impression I got anyway. Is that it was sort of galvanizing that. But what were you saying?
Do we lose you, Jamie?
What? No, I was. I just realized I was an idiot. I completely.
okay.
I'm completely. I don't know what the hell I was saying. I was like, if you're gonna don't like take away like the only thing like a child has, I guess, but.
Oh.
Because like
Yeah.
you know, basically like telling Chris to grow the hell up and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what was like. Fuck you. You know, it's like it's the one thing that is keeping Chris somewhat happy.
Yeah,
Right.
you definitely have
Keeping
a
him
point
a
there.
child.
Like with him like telling him to grow up, and he even tells him like you're not a baby anymore. Like, yeah, that's you definitely have a point in saying that. But I think like he's trying to do that, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I guess we can't really form an opinion on whether it is like pushing Chris further into that or taking him out of it because we only see a single morning. But
Right.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see more of that in season 2.
That interchange, by the way, and I don't know how the conversations vary, but where he's just like taking him down and like making fun of him for crying, and he like says how he can see his mother and that her death was his fault. Like I felt like that was, I mean, there are a lot of really hard moments in Life is Strange, and you know, some really really heavy stuff, but. Damn, that was brutal. That was really hard to watch.
Yeah.
Did I talk about like the specifics about what Charlie says to Chris if you choose like the oblivious ending?
No, I
If you
don't
go
think
for
so.
No.
No.
It's basically no, you know the way it's like you in like the other two it's like, oh, you know, you should have got rid of her.
Yeah.
And basically Charlie's like, you know, it's like well, Chris says, you know, I covered it, it's cool. It's like, you don't have to cover me. Why? Because you're ashamed of having a drunk dad? It's like, either way we lose. We really
Right.
do.
Yeah, I mean, there's no winning. There's no winning with him.
Yeah, it's basically Charlie didn't want Chris to cover for him, even though in the other two it's like, you know, you could have got rid of her. It's like, I'm a kid. I'm doing my best.
And it's
Right.
interesting too because it's like Chris almost is the adult
Yeah.
in this situation. You know, he's doing a lot more than Charlie is, and you know, just as far as like his composure and like when he's talking to Miss Reynolds and she says, well, at least in my conversation, she said, "I'm glad you're taking care of your dad."
Same.
Right.
And I thought that was really
And
that was an interesting line.
I mean, we see Chris too doing like, I mean, Charlie made the eggs, which that was another thing that made me chuckle because that was before it started getting super heavy. It was like he gives you the eggs and toast, and he says, "What were you expecting? A waffle?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But that was a nice little.
I didn't even
callback.
realize that at the time.
But the, I mean, we see Chris is taking care of everything around the house while Charlie is just kind of drinking and watching sports and stuff and falling asleep. But I mean, like, if you so choose to do it, you take out the trash, you do the laundry, and
You
it's
can shovel the snow.
it's Chris's innocence
Yeah,
too,
like-
that like his like naive innocence where he's like he wants to do right by his dad. He wants his dad to love him. You know,
It's like
he's this
Yeah.
9-year-old kid.
it's really like at the time like I was like, oh, like he's just like it's just like him playing like and he makes it all into games and stuff, and then like kind of like a little bit further it's like no, like Chris shouldn't like be doing all of this, like he's a kid, like he should be like doing like what he wants to do, not looking after his dad and like doing everything for his dad, like
Right.
especially just like it's just the small things. I don't know, it was like really like heartbreaking like once I realized that like even though he was having to look after his dad and do everything around the house, like there was still like such a naivety to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I don't know. It is heart-wrenching, and of course is very heavy, as we know. It's just that's Life is Strange. Life is
Yeah.
heavy.
And basically Chris is basically just basically begging Charlie to stop, and And Charlie says the one thing that I was like, I hate you. I really, really hate you now. Basically saying if it wasn't for Chris, you know,
like your
Emily
mom would
wouldn't
still
take
be
the-
alive.
Yeah, that was like, I hate you now. You
Yeah.
have no redeemable features, and you know, Chris runs out. Climbs a tree. Fucking, he didn't even put on his boots.
I know.
No, you
That
just
was-
ran out barefoot.
That was like,
Yeah.
I was like, come on, man, put on your shoes. You're
Yeah.
gonna get sick. You're gonna get cold.
Then he tries to climb up the treehouse. Falls. Then the big reveal.
Right.
He's a power boy.
So that
Maybe.
was my first, because I didn't do anything except for the water eater and put on the bandages when I first came across the ending. And so I was like, there's no, like, I was like, this is just straight up the bad end, right? Like and the way that I thought when he sees Steven and whatever the other one's name
It's not
is.
Steven. I don't think it is. Oh wait, it probably is. Yeah.
I think it is.
Grandkids. Yeah.
I thought originally there's something that Chris says earlier in the game where he talks about like having to leave his friend, and he's like, even though he's just on the other side of town. I think it's when you look at the map. He's like, he's just on the other side of the town.
yeah,
it
it's his
feels
friend's
like-
His name
Hal.
begins with like an H.
Hal.
Hal, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought originally that was his friends that he had left when they moved, and I was like, fuck, like Chris just fell out of this tree. He's in like this is like not real. Like this is like comatose type thing, or like what you see when you're dying. And I was like, fuck, I just got straight up bad end, didn't I? And I was like, this sucks. I started crying. I was like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
And
told
Jeez.
like Joey messaged me is like, he messaged me is like, I think I got the bad end.
yeah, I was like, fuck, like I just killed Chris. I was like, but I mean, I guess, even with Life is Strange 1, season 1, we see that it probably will be like actual powers. If I imagine, I don't think they'll go the route of like, yeah, Chris is actually in a coma, and like the events of season 2 are actually like
In his head.
right.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you bring that up, because like when he falls out of or when he falls up the ladder, and then he goes down and he's like suspended in midair, and then he like gently goes to the ground. It's like I have so many questions, because throughout the game you see him like he's always doing that thing where he has like telekinesis and he's moving things and lifting them up. And throughout the whole thing I'm like, is this in his head? Is this like his imagination? Like, you know, telling him he actually has powers, or does he really, and nobody knows? And when he at the very end, when he like floats to the ground and then he gets up and he sees the other kids, it's like, if that actually happened, they must have seen it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what does that mean?
it obviously looks like they did see it. Like,
Yeah.
they're both,
Yeah.
like, facing him, like, I don't know. It seems like they should have seen it, but somebody, I think it actually might have been Tomorrowheart again, he said that, there was a rumor that he heard that Chris is going to be, like, a side character, and that you'll actually be playing as one of the neighbor kids. And so...
Right.
And so he said that one of them has the powers, and they caught Chris. And the reason that the two of them aren't freaking out about it is because they're brothers, and whichever one has the powers, the other one knows. And so they just, like, caught Chris, and that's why they're just like, hey, and they're, I don't know, maybe they're going to try to, like, play it off or something. But,
He said, I saw him say that, and he said that it was like all but confirmed, but I don't know what that's like based on. I haven't seen or heard like any sort of substantiation to that.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
I haven't heard anything about, like, rumors that Chris won't be the main character or anything.
I've heard
Right.
rumors.
I've always, up until Tomorrowheart said that, I assumed that Chris would be the main character, and this was just a little preview.
Yeah.
of
Yeah, I've
everything.
heard rumors that the two boys at the end are the main characters, or like the protagonists for season 2. How true that is, I don't know, but that's what
I think
people are saying.
It's interesting
It would be
because
interesting, yeah.
because now if we
It's
play back
possible.
into the bad ending that Jamie said, that Miss Reynolds is basically like, we're gonna take you out of this house. If you are playing as one of the brothers, it could very well start like a few months after the events of Captain Spirit, or maybe even a year,
Yeah.
and Chris could be adopted into their family, and he could essentially be like one of your brothers. And so you could be playing the oldest brother, and Chris will still be a huge part of the game, in that he's like your brother, but he's just he's just a side character, and so we get some like history with him, because that also plays into, even if you don't get the bad ending where she does straight up say, we're taking you away, you can find in the game emails from like Child Protective Services and stuff implying that like,
and his grandparents.
and his grandparents, implying that like, people know what the situation is with like Charlie and like his and his problem, and so even if you don't get the ending, the basis for like for Chris possibly being taken away is still there.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to believe this theory, just because I think it would be really interesting, like just to have Captain Spirit as its own like sort of bridge into that plot line. The only thing that prevents me from believing it wholeheartedly is that, and this is kind of trivial, but when you download Captain Spirit, it says play demo, and that leads me to believe
and
that
that's
this is a small piece of a larger game revolving around Chris.
And I feel like there is a lot of like lore regarding like Chris's kind of story.
Right.
So I feel like it would kind of be a bad thing if they kind of just shoehorned him to the side,
Well, we know Chris will be in season 2.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like if they were gonna like, just push him to the side, kind of like showcase other two characters, but I don't know. I'm kind of like, I really don't know how to feel about that. If true, but I'm kind of trying to keep an open mind at it.
Here's what with clearer eyes and clearer mind I've kind of put together. So we can see from the pre-order that there is a pre-order bonus that gives you certain extra customization things for your bag, which I'm assuming like Max's camera or even her journal, your backpack is going to play a role. Right. So after seeing that, here's what I'm thinking is it is going to take place sometime after Captain Spirit, and it'll probably be with Chris in school. I imagine he will have befriended Steven and the other boy, and it'll be like kind of the story of them. I think my thought is that it'll be kind of the tone of it will be playing about how there's like the chance for a better life through these other kids, and how like it befriending them kind of helps him out of the despondency of his life now, where he's kind of alone with just Charlie. Also, too, with them smiling and waving at him and all that, it does seem to set up for like, I imagine the drama will be. This is just all my theory, anyway. The drama, the crux of the drama will be Chris trying to separate himself from his home life through the aid of these boys, and whereas Charlie not letting go of that. And so there will probably be like the contention will be with Charlie trying to keep Chris away from outside, where it would like show Charlie being as the bad guy. But I mean, there's still quite a bit that can be that we don't even see happen. Because I mean, we know like with season 1, Chloe had the home life drama as well, but then there was still something much greater afoot, with Jefferson and everything.
Right.
So there very well could be elements of that as well, where we have like a sort of bigger scenario, and even though Charlie and Chris's relationship is a huge point of contention, it is like that. also is not the entire scenario, because Captain Spirit is just kind of a snippet.
Right. Well,
And I think that's a good point to bring up, because it's like you have to wonder why. I mean, it's probably also just to hype people up, but it's like, why would they release this before the full game?
Right. I think, and I have also a theory about that, thought on that, is the release of Captain Spirit being that is because they knew Life is Strange 2 would be quite different from Season 1. And so it was kind of, they released it for free so anybody could play it. Not only does it serve as like setting up the story for Season 2, but it also kind of eases people away from the events of Season 1 and Before the Storm into Season 2, because it is going to be so different. So from a standpoint of like selling the game even to hardcore fans of the franchise, I think hardcore fans of the franchise we're gonna get it anyway, but sort of selling it to people who maybe weren't going to come around to the fact that it was no longer going to be about Max and Chloe, or Chloe and Rachel, or any of that. Releasing that was a smart move, as kind of like, hey, look, we're still very capable of making worlds or making stories and characters that you can fall in love with just as easy as you were able to fall in love with Max and Chloe in their story. So I think that was probably from a like removing any sort of like
is managing expectations.
Right. Yeah, that's the TLDR.
Right. That's
way to say that.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. And I think it definitely worked, because I've seen, over the past few days since it launched on Twitter, I've seen so many people tweet, I was really wary about Season 2 after hearing it wouldn't be about Max and Chloe, but like Captain Spirit has changed my mind. So
right.
I think if that was their intention, I think they definitely nailed it. So good job, Dontnod. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm excited.
That's what I think. I'll we'll get Toby back on the show and let him confirm it for me.
Pick his brain.
Yeah. Let him, tell me how smart I am.
Jamie, I want to hear this evidence that you have about the heavy breathing phone call.
Oh, it wasn't really evidence. It was basically confirming that that Claire said that her grandkids are staying over for
right
Christmas, and that they're there right now.
Okay.
At the house, basically she said, you can come by and visit them later this evening.
Okay.
If you want.
I'm gonna give you guys my wacky theory. I'm good.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Okay, it's wacky.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna preface it. It's out there. So
windshield wipers on.
So we know that like Emily died in this accident. It was like a hit and run, but the perpetrator was never caught. And then there's also this other newspaper we pick up that says that a woman was killed by a police officer in Seattle, and then the police officer was subsequently murdered, which is still under investigation. So, I don't know. I see, just from that case, I see like 2 mysterious deaths, 2 murders. And my idea is so ridiculous, but I love it. If I'm thinking, this is what my stupid theory hinges on. If Season 2 starts and Miss Reynolds, the neighbor, has been killed, if she has been murdered,
oh shit,
my theory is that there is some kind of like crazy murderer, and that fact, because my implication is that the person that picked up the phone is like some like crazy murderer person that was inside their house. But I think that just comboed with like this whole prevailing theme of like superheroes and fighting evil and stuff like that, and the obvious presence of somebody, be it Chris or the neighbor kids or whatever, somebody has superpowers. I was just thinking that Season 2 might have this sort of theme of like vigilantism and like becoming a superhero and like fighting evil using his powers. It's really out there, and I think it would be fun. I think it would be very different, especially seeing as Chris is so young. But maybe it could even be a few years in the future when Chris has gotten a bit older. But I do think it is a wild theory, but that was like one of the first things I thought. That was what my head was trying to make sense of, like the creepy breathing on the phone.
It's not that wild. Like, we've seen some wild stuff in Life is Strange. To be fair, like, it's not that out there. Besides, like, I feel like if they're going down this route of, like, having powers again, there's always going to have to be an antagonist in the story. And we don't know anything about that, so I feel like it's not that wild.
Also, too, I feel like it fits into the thematic thing of where you can say the message of season 2 will be like, you don't need to have superpowers to be a superhero. You can save people's lives. You can like turn these things around, which we see being true with like Before the Storm and stuff like in season 1, even though
even
Max
with
had
season
time
1
powers.
Even with like the different subjects through the Everyday Hero contest in episode 5, seeing all those different examples there, like firefighters and all that stuff.
Right. So it fits the message, I think, that Life is Strange has had throughout the previous titles. So that's that's another reason why I really liked your theory, Zach. Is because it's plausible, because it fits into the message that like you'll see this, like if it does center around Chris and like trying to solve some mystery or like trying to navigate these type of things, it still centers on like the whole message of the way you treat people and the way you approach people and stuff like that being like life-saving things to people who are struggling and people who are suffering, that being like a major theme throughout it. So it does, I mean, it makes it completely plausible, and I like that. And I think it's much more grounded than some theories that we've seen, like can Jefferson fly and shit like that.
My theory. I did have like a theory which was kind of off the cuff, and I did tell Joey about this. It's a bit weird, and it's basically going off Life is Strange 1 and a little bit of Before the Storm, because with the farewell episode it was advertised to play as Max one final time, right?
Right.
I was thinking she might turn up in season 2.
Oh yeah.
Which is a bit fucking ridiculous as is, because I was thinking whoever has the powers, which I was thinking Chris at the time, but now I don't fucking know, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The person... Oh, shit. The person who would have the most experience with this, and to tell there are consequences with these gifts or curses or whatever the fuck it is, would be Max, right?
Right.
It's possible.
I would love it.
I don't personally see how they could work that in.
Yeah, because
with it being like,
I think the accepted theory is that regardless of the endings you get in season 1, you're kind of under the assumption that the storm was because Max like used her powers and like fucked up the timeline, and this was just like the universe setting things straight.
Right.
I think that would imply that she wasn't going to use her powers anymore, which, I mean, I guess she could theoretically reach out to other, like, people with powers, but, like, how the hell is she going to find them or anything?
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of mention of Max and or Chloe.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised and also pleased if they like made an appearance at all, like even briefly, like a little cameo.
I feel like, I mean,
but
right.
there would surely there would have to be some kind of like mention or something like that. Like, I feel like if a whole, like, if we're going by the, just like, obviously it's two very different endings, but like, just as an example, like destroying the whole of Arcadia Bay, like there's no way there's like no other town in Oregon would know about that, right? Like a whole town gets wiped out by a random tornado, like people are gonna know about it, or like by a storm, like
even 3 years later, right?
Yeah.
It's not gonna like people aren't gonna stop talking
No.
about that easily. I think
Yeah.
It's difficult to even bring them in at all without inadvertently
Yeah,
canonizing
or
them
like
in
even
one
something
of the
like
guys.
having
Yeah,
exactly.
like
Well-
an infamous like teacher at a local high school be a murderer, like
Mhm.
something like that. Like that's something people aren't gonna forget about, or like people are gonna talk about it, especially if it's in a close area as well. I don't know.
Right.
Right.
I think if like with just what little bit we're given, it would like exist in sort of another alternate timeline altogether
Yeah.
from like the events of season 1, where these people still existed, but it's still kind of an alternate timeline
Yeah.
from that. But there is one very interesting thing that stuck with me, and I don't know if it's actually like has any significance whatsoever, or if it was just like circumstance. In the opening cinematic for Captain Spirit, when it's panning from the road to the little house, we see this flock of birds that are in the middle of the sky, and it's a large group of them, and they're all kind of like flying around in like ways that birds do, but like they're all kind of like it like kind of convulses in on itself and all that, which I mean is like normal bird behavior, but also too that is something that we've seen with fucky time shit going on. We see like animals acting strange and stuff like that, and the fact that it's December and there's this huge flock of birds in the Pacific Northwest in December that hasn't
That's
like migrated. And not only that, like, I mean, there are some birds that sure would still be around, but the fact that there's such a large flock of them and they are like just out and about during the middle of the day in December in Oregon when it's obviously very much winter. I wonder if that was like any sort of like setup for like there will be some more like kind of metaphysical, like what the fuck is going on type shit with Beaver Creek.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
I didn't
that's
even-
critical thinking right there.
I didn't even
I
think
like
about the fact that there was like birds hanging out and hanging out in the middle of winter, and also that we kind of saw some of that with like Max's powers messing with like the local
Wait.
ecosystem.
Don't raccoons hibernate?
Maybe.
Do they?
I don't know. I don't know enough about raccoons.
Right.
On the next
Should
episode,
look
we'll be
that up.
interviewing a raccoon specialist.
We'll be interviewing Bradley Cooper.
You know,
Uh,
on the forefront of raccoon studies.
yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah,
He spent a year as a raccoon to get a role on his rocket.
yeah.
All that said, like, yeah, I'm always down for more, like, little Easter eggs like that. And even, it's not necessary, although, like, I don't know, I'm content with the little ones that they already have, or in my mind they are. I don't know if it was intentional. Like, there was something that Chris said about if I could go back and change the course of events, or like if I could go back in time. It's just like a little thing. And I felt like exactly, yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. No, thank you for that. Like I was, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Sorry. Go ahead.
And also, I just like the way that when Chris does use his power, he sticks his hand out like Max does.
Mhm.
It's just, I don't know. It's a nice little reminder of where we've been.
Don't forget your roots.
Yeah. I feel like we should. I don't want to be the one to
To wrap it up.
Yeah, because we're almost 2 hours, like,
Yeah.
and
Right.
we've officially talked about Captain Spirit more than the actual episode is.
Right.
Make
So,
we'll
maybe.
make sure to, when this episode comes out, we'll tell you to play Captain Spirit while you listen.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it'll definitely get
Oh.
you through.
Podcast commentary for
Yeah.
Captain Spirit.
So that's our thoughts on Captain Spirit. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. We personally enjoyed it. We're looking forward for Life is Strange 2 on September 27th.
Yeah, definitely tell us what you think about the game. We want to hear what your thoughts are. Also, too, like if one thing, going back to like technical stuff, there was I did notice with like the credits, which is not that big of a deal because you don't even have to watch the credits. But like the text was kind of jumpy, with like it was weird. It was like
it seemed like it was a big like going down and then up again. A little
yeah,
bit.
it was jittery. So if there were any glaring technical issues,
I know I've seen some people like T-posing and like other people's playthroughs and stuff,
asserting dominance.
Because like I think it was like when Chris was doing like the washing up, and
and he drops something. The glass.
Yeah, he gets like Charlie got so angry he T-posed.
You had to assert his dominance over Chris.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, let us know what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
You can talk about it in Discord. We got a channel set up if you want to come discuss it
Full
there.
Spoilers.
Come to the Discord and tell us your wacky theories.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. One thing I am hoping to see in Season 2 is some mention of a podcast.
Yeah, please. Don't know. We've been doing this
Wink,
for almost
wink.
3 years.
For 3 years. Please. 3 years by the time episode 1 comes out. Maybe just like talk about how like there was this group doing a podcast and they died. And
That's what I was going to say. They all died.
What would come, Joey? What will come first? Us getting referenced in Life is Strange, or us actually interviewing the Dontnod boys?
Like actually having like a actual interview. Yeah. Good question.
Time will tell.
Anyway,
we need to T-pose on Dontnod.
That's what I was going to say. Put us in the game, or else we'll come to France and T-pose
T-pose
at your
in your
house.
so let's talk about announcements, huh?
Yeah.
So our next episode is going to be about Hell is Empty, because we've been putting it off a little bit too long.
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess episode after that will be the farewell episode. And then that'll be kind of like towards the our 3-year anniversary, which is bonkers.
It's coming up next month, yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy. So we're planning on something. Which I guess it'll be just a surprise when it comes out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm looking forward for. And I guess that's really it. We'll maybe have some interviews and we'll see how things goes. But we just want to get these episodes out that we've already planned.
Right.
Really, that's kind of like the big thing that we need to do because we've been putting it off.
Right, because we're gonna have when episode 1 hits, we're gonna have quite a bit of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
And there's already a lot of stuff to talk about with Captain Spirit, even though we've gone on for over 2 hours now.
Mm-hmm.
There's still plenty to talk about. And so that's the immediate episodes coming up. We're gonna try to get some interviews, see what we can do. I would like to get Christian back on the show at some point.
Yeah,
now that we have Captain Spirit in Season 2.
Yeah.
We need to sort out Patreon Hangout.
Yeah.
We did try, but so basically, to anyone who's a patron of us, first of all, thank you for all the support with the pledges. Second of all, we are definitely trying, join the Discord server, link your Patreon account to your Discord account, and we'll try and organize a Patreon hangout for everybody.
Right.
That'll fit.
Let us know some times that would be good for you. Mostly for us, we're looking at ideally being on the weekend at some point. But let us know some time frames that would be good, so we can kind of like find some congruent ones where we can have as much people on as possible. And we are still always trying to figure out ways we can improve some perks for our patrons. So that's just a work in progress.
Maybe in the comments, maybe some people could suggest stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you know of like
any
other
good
like patron benefits.
exclusive stuff.
Just let us know if you have any ideas for that. It's something we're
'cause
looking
we'd love
into.
Yeah, we'd love to give back to the patrons a little more, because we don't really do as much as we should, and we feel bad about it, and we really want to do more.
Right.
So yeah, please
maybe we
let us know.
can maybe we can have our patrons like be a part of the Mustard Party tournament as well.
That would be cool.
We'll see. We'll
Big
figure
tournament.
something out. We're working on it. It's definitely something that, you know, we're not trying to like push it off or whatever, but it is definitely something that is on our minds. So yeah, if you have any ideas for that, look forward to our episodes coming up. And
we'll keep everyone posted on Twitter if there's anything updating. That in the Discord server. We'll if any schedule changes or anything happen like that. We're normally on top of that stuff. But yeah, thank you everyone who who took the time to listen to us talking about Captain Spirit.
You know, before we give me just a second before we completely sign off of here, there's something I do want to give a little bit of a shout out to Adam. He has been a long time listener. He's always commenting on our videos about how much he loves the podcast.
Loves the podcast. Yeah, he's one of the first people every video.
Yeah, it feels really good, and I just want to say thank you. I know I've seen you on every episode, and you talk about how much you love it, and it really, stuff like that really does make it feel better about when it can be kind of grueling to keep trying to come up with episode ideas and stuff like that. Yeah. Seeing that, people love it so much. So thank you, Adam. Just want to give a shout out to you.
Thank you. Yeah. I feel like he/they are generally also pretty active in chat too. When we have live streams or an extra life, I'm pretty sure I saw them, constantly with us. So yeah, we appreciate it.
And we do have. I mean, we still have quite a bit of people that have been with us since early on, and we are super appreciative. We of course are super appreciative of our new listeners, but the fact that people still listen to us, they that it hasn't gotten old for them makes it so that it doesn't get old for us, and it's really super appreciated.
We appreciate all of you, because without you guys we wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, there would be no
we wouldn't have got past the pilot or anything. We wouldn't have met the awesome people that are now our co-hosts. Our mods as well. Shout out to our mods. We it's kind of a bit of a sappy moment here, but we've been so lucky with the podcast.
We have.
I love all of you guys.
We love you too.
Oh man.
Y'all.
We kind of glazed over it, but I believe it was back in April was y'all's 1 year anniversary with us, right?
Yeah.
It seems like it's been so much longer.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
In a good way.
It really
in a good
really
way,
does.
yeah. not God, you're still here. No, in a good way. It does feel like we've been a team for a lot longer. And that's also the anniversary for our mods as well. And we've got a really good team, and I'm really appreciative of all the work that everybody puts in to making this an enjoyable experience for everyone. So
I also need to give someone a shout out real quick.
Go for it.
I want to give a shout out to Chris from Life is Strange Fans. Who helped make the logo for our intro.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks,
Oh yeah,
It's very cool, and
it looks awesome.
It does look really cool.
Also, for letting the podcast host the open mic nights for Life is Strange Fans. Those
I hate I wasn't
really
able
cool.
to make it for that, but that is really cool opportunity for us.
I always have a blast hosting them, even though I'm it's late as shit whenever we're doing them, but it's a lot of fun. There's so many talented people.
Was a lot of fun. Yeah, for sure. I'm sad I missed the last one. I hope we do it again soon.
Yeah.
If we're throwing out shout outs, I also got to thank Mike which is at Rosgrees280 on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
He was the guy who he helped me with the with the multiple phone call like options you can get with Miss Reynolds. He was the guy who like did an extra playthrough for me just to like experiment. So thanks for that, Mike.
He's been with us too. Like he's been a listener since like early on.
Yeah,
like if not one
He's
of the
a
first
patron.
listeners. Yeah, he is a patron as well.
Mm-hmm.
He has that like icon with the black bird and the red eye, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
him.
really solid dude.
Yep. Me and Joey play games with him sometimes. We should play more games with him. It's been a while.
It has.
All
All
right.
right. We need to wrap up the episode. So everyone, thank you so much for all your support. We really, really do appreciate it.
Yes. We also, sorry, before I just remembered, we also got a submission in, which his artwork actually has, or their artwork actually has floated around Twitter a little bit, and really cool. We weren't able to put it into this episode, but it was a Captain Spirit, so we'll try to get that in. It was an Everyday Heroes submission, and it's the first one we've gotten in a while. So we'll try to get that in an episode soon.
We need to do an Everyday Heroes episode soon.
Yeah,
It's been a hot minute since. It'd be nice to talk about. So yeah, we'll definitely use that then, I guess.
So yeah, if you have art that you want to send to us,
Send it our way.
cosplays, music videos that you did, what have you, songs, we'll try to find a way to showcase that. But for real this time.
Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate it. We'll see
Thank
you
y'all.
next episode with Hell is Empty. Bye, guys.
We love
Bye.
you.